Based on the evidence, it was clear that multiple cash withdrawals were made by the first defendant from large numbers of OR accounts. Again, the court was shown cash withdrawal slips containing signatures of the first defendant and, in some instances, copies of the first defendant's identification card photocopied at the back of the bank documents were also exhibited. Simon Farrell QC suggested to three of the prosecution witnesses called today that two other BIBD staff collected the cash withdrawn from the OR's accounts, which they processed, and these monies were then handed over to the first defendant, who was waiting outside in her car. One of the prosecution witnesses did not agree with him and confirmed that he handed over the cash to the first defendant herself. The other two tellers agreed that the cash was collected by BIBD staff but did not see the cash being handed over to the first defendant. The defence informed the court that they do not object to the contents of the statements of another 6 sets of BIBD tellers. Jonathan Kaplan QC read out the statements in court which relayed the transactions process for the cash withdrawals made by the first defendant. All the statements confirm that the tellers processed cash withdrawals from large numbers of OR's accounts. The withdrawals were made by the first defendant, as they confirm that the signatures on the cash withdrawals corresponds to the authorized signatory in their records. Though their statements state that the account passbooks and filled-in cash withdrawal slips were given to them in advance either from another BIBD staff from the Debt Recovery Department, they also confirmed that all the cash withdrawn were handed over to the first defendant herself, which can be demonstrated through the signature she appended in front of them to acknowledge receipt of such cash. In one instance, Jonathan Kaplan QC exhibited a BIBD deposit slip showing a cash deposit of $93,000 into an account belonging to Jati Transport Sindiran Berhad Beri Bigadong. It is the prosecution's case that the $10,000 notes used to deposit the account originated from a cash withdrawal made by the first defendant from OR's accounts. The prosecution also exhibited to the court photocopies of $10,000 notes made by a BIBD teller. The copies were made as a record to later report to the Authority Monetary Brunei Darussalam AMBD. These $10,000 notes were given to the first defendant as part of the cash withdrawn by her on 5th December 2017, the last transaction which she has done from OR's accounts during her tenure as a deputy official receiver. The prosecution also played in court an excerpt of CCTV recording from BIBD main branch in Bandar Seri Begawan. The video shows a time when the first defendant approached the bank teller counter for a transaction. A bank teller, who was one of the witnesses called by the prosecution today, was seen counting stacks of cash. The cash was later placed into a white envelope and handed over to the first defendant, which she then kept in her handbag. Lastly, it can be seen that the first defendant signed on a piece of paper in front of the bank teller. The matter will continue again tomorrow morning at 9 in the morning for the continuation of the prosecution's case. Jonathan Kaplan QC and DPPs Haji Suhana Haji Sudin, Haji Suryana Haji Radin dan Kudidi Nuraza Pingiran Abdul Latif and Muhammad Kamarul Afian bin Abdul Rahman appeared for the public prosecutor. Simon Farrell QC and Sheikh Nordin Sheikh Muhammad appeared for the defendants.